Welcome, viewers, to a special YouTube-only edition of the Comics Community Podcast, where we'll be reviewing the Suicide Squad movie. My name is Mitch, and I'll be hosting this special episode. Joining me today are two of the comics crew regulars you should recognize. We have Randy.
Hey, everybody.
And we have Alec.
Hi, everyone.
All right, so the Suicide Squad movie, we've all seen it. But if you're not familiar with it, we have a little description here. This is straight from IMDb, which is a secret government agency recruits a group of imprisoned supervillains to execute dangerous Black Ops missions in exchange for clemency, which inevitably leads to chaos. Now, this is pretty much the movie we thought it would be because it follows a typical Suicide Squad origin story. But other than that, without spoilers, because we're going to talk about spoilers at the end, what are your guys' first impressions of this film? Did you like it? Was it the movie you were expecting? Was it the movie you wanted it to be? Who wants to start first?
Alec, you want to go first?
I guess I'll go first if I'm on the spot like that. So I thought it was really entertaining. It's a lot of action and a lot of humor. Definitely something that's been missing from the previous installment of DC's Marvel universe, or DC's movie universe, I should say. So,
Was it the movie you were expecting? Was it? Did it surprise you at all?
No, it was pretty much what I was expecting.
Okay, Randy, what did you think of it?
Overall, I liked the movie. I thought it was enjoyable. And given the choice, I would probably buy the DVD of it afterwards.
Okay. Any surprises there? Were you familiar with the Suicide Squad?
I was familiar with the concept of Suicide Squad and a lot of the characters, but not them based in Suicide Squad. So.
Okay. For me, it wasn't a bad movie. Not like offensive or anything like that. I thought it had some cohesiveness problems. It's basically just like a dumb action movie, honestly. So it was, like Alex said, it was fun. It was entertaining. I didn't find myself sitting there and saying, boy, this movie's no good. But I'm a little disappointed because I felt like there was a better movie in there somewhere. Like they missed an opportunity to tell, maybe a little bit better story, especially with this group of villains that they set up in the movie, not even talking about the villains in the comic books, but just the ones they set up as this team that was the worst of the worst, as Amanda Waller put it, and they send them on this mission that's typically for, a good guy mission. So I feel like, they didn't do what Deadpool did, which was they took their character and they played that character out, good, bad, or indifferent. He was true to who he was. But they didn't really do that here because they fell into like some action movie tropes of coming together as a team and some cliches in there that I thought they would go against those cliches, but they kind of fell in with those cliches. So for me, it wasn't a good movie, but it was enjoyable enough. So, what are your guys' official scores? We have our official rating method here for the comics community, which is good, bad, or mediocre. Alec, what was your score?
I would go with between good and mediocre because it's, like I said, it's entertaining, it's fun, but there's a lot of issues with the actual filmmaking process with this movie, like the editing and such, that it kind of detracted from the movie as well. So definitely one of DC's betters, but yeah, so good to mediocre.
That's officially the Raphael score.
Is it?
Yes, good to mediocre. Did you hear about the editing controversy before you saw the movie?
Yes, I had heard about it.
That was that they had gotten the person who had edited the trailer to edit the movie.
So yeah, about that, the people that edit trailers, like, no bashing on them, but like that's what they're good at. They're designed to edit like, you know, a minute and a half to 2 minutes of footage to make it catchy and make it, vibrant and something that you'll want to be a part of. So to put them in a position where they're grabbing, how long was this movie?
Let me look. It didn't seem very long. It was 2 hours and 3 minutes, though.
So yeah, but like to have somebody who's only used to doing, a couple minutes and have them do a couple hours seems a little crazy. And I don't know. It sounds like there's multiple cuts of this movie that existed before we got to see it. So I'm kind of curious if they'll bring those out.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see that on the DVD special edition if they come
Yeah.
out with a Batman Superman style. Randy, what's your official score?
I would say this for me is more good than anything. I don't know. I went to the movie just looking to have a good time. I could tear it apart in some respects, but I overall enjoyed it. So
Oh, that's good. That's a positive score. I'm gonna give it a solid mediocre. I think like if you go in with the right attitude, you'll have fun. But if you're looking for the movie to impress you, that's probably not going to happen. And speaking of not impressing, we have the Rotten Tomato scores, which is currently sitting at 26% as of today.
That's lower than Batman versus Superman now, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that was 31%. And there was a bit of a backlash against Rotten Tomatoes because of that. A fan petition online.
I read about that.
A petition to shut Rotten Tomatoes down, which I don't know.
That'll never happen.
No, that'll never happen.
Like, these people don't understand what Rotten Tomatoes do. They don't review movies themselves. They just collect reviews.
Yeah, they're just the aggregator.
But you look at that audience score, 72% of the audience liked it.
Yeah, so that is definitely a wide disconnect.
Yeah, it was pretty much the same thing with the Batman movie, right? I mean, it had a low tomato meter score, but the audience score was still pretty high.
It was definitely higher than the critics' score, that's for sure. I don't know if it was quite as high as 72%, but it was better. There's been a lot of movies like that this year. The World of Warcraft movie, the same thing.
Yeah, the Batman movie it's at 27%, and the audience score was 65.
Wow.
As of right now.
Well, speaking of the audience, we've got the way that they vote, of course, is with their dollars, and they're sitting at 135.2 million domestic for the weekend, which is set the record for the highest opening weekend in August, and it was just a little bit shy of Batman Superman, which I think they opened with 170 million. Somewhere around there, so it did good at the box office. What do you guys think of that box office score? You think that's pretty good for that kind of movie?
It seems fine. I mean, I know a lot of articles talk about the Friday to Saturday drop off. Like, they're talking like, oh, it's 41%. It's like one of the worst drop offs since Dark Knight Rises for a comic book movie. When Dark Knight Rises had that thing where like a guy went to, what was it, Aurora, Colorado, and shot up the theater. So they put a lot of like fear into people to not go see it the next day because it might happen again. But I was reading an article, and they're talking about like the worst Friday to Saturday declines. Like, the top one is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Like, it had a 53% decline. Other ones is like Force Awakens. Like, so it's a lot of movies that are high anticipation. So everyone goes to see them the first day, and that's when they want to see them. So a lot of people are using that 41% drop off as like oh, this movie's going to fail horribly. Well, it's also following other trends of movies that, are really well received. So I don't know what they're really trying to get there.
Yeah, and speaking of the anticipation, I think this film had a really good media campaign in terms of just the trailers were good, the buzz about this movie was really good, so I think a lot of people did just go see it that first weekend. All right, got nothing more to say about that. We'll move on to a little review of our predictions. Last week we did a preview show, myself, Phil, and Raphael, and we did our own little predictions. I predicted that that this would be a good movie, and I was wrong on that.
That makes it sound like it's a bad movie, though, and I would not say that.
No, it was. I think we'll give this one to Raphael. He predicted it would be a good, bad, mediocre movie. So,
all right, Raphael, if you're listening, you've got one in the win column right now.
Yeah. Phil said it would be a good movie, but he hasn't seen it yet, so we don't have his prediction yet. In terms of Rotten Tomato meters, we were all pretty far off. Phil predicted 78%. I predicted the critics would love this. I predicted an 84%. So I was way off. And Raphael again gets the closest on this. He predicted 57%. So I think we all had high hopes for this film, but the critics definitely did not like it at all. So then for box office, again, we were a little high. Phil got confused, and he kind of threw in the foreign as well as domestic. So he went 250 million, which if we count foreign, he's pretty much right on there. 250 million for the first weekend. Raphael went with 350.
Jesus.
$3.50, so he went for the under, and I went with 150. So I think technically I'm closest, but I went over. So.
Ooh, Price is Right rules. You lost.
Price is Right rules. All right, Price is Right rules. We all lost here. So those were our predictions. We were pretty much wrong. So we'll keep doing predictions because we like being wrong.
Yeah, I've been seeing on. Does anybody know what the budget for this movie was?
I heard 170.
I
I heard 170 is what I heard.